y'all, I'm Drew, owner of Highland Greens Woodworking, and welcome to my wood shop. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I make really terrific looking yet simple planter boxes, or others would call them flower boxes, the kind that you hang under the window on the front of your house. The thing I love about these is they give houses massive curb appeal, and yet they're so simple to make. It doesn't require any fancy joinery, any expensive tools. As a matter of fact, I don't even sand them or cover my brad nail holes. And all you need are these $2 dog-eared fence pickets, a little bit of stain, a little bit of patience, and you're gonna have yourselves very, very beautiful planter boxes. Let's get to building. So to start out, I chopped down all of my pieces, making two boxes here. One is 70 inches, one is 50, I believe, 53, something like that. So I'm cutting the bottoms, the fronts, and the backs. Now these 6-foot fence pickets are 72 inches, and the dog ear on them are 2 inches, so it worked out just right. And here I am laying out my two boxes and gluing up the first one here. I think in this video I just showed you one that I'm putting together. So all I really do is run a bead of glue down the edges, and then I follow that up with the brad nailer. One thing about these fence pickets, they're not always straight, so you kind of have to finagle them as you go, keep them square to the edge, but it's not too complicated. So I get this first bottom nailed to the front and flip it over, more glue, and then I'm going to get the front panel here nailed to the bottom as well. Doesn't take a whole lot to keep these boxes together, and you'll see as they come together, there's so many different parts with brad nails that it is pretty solid. So after I run my brad nails through, next part is I'm going to take the side pieces here and just mark a line, and that'll be my cut reference for the end caps. Then it's over to the chop saw where I cut these two pieces, and then after this, you got it. More glue and more brad nails. Now I probably should be using Titebond 3 because it's waterproof, but these are not that fancy of flower boxes. So Titebond 1 works great, and it's got a lot of working time, or shorter working time, which it applies and kind of hardens up much quicker, so I do like that in this instance. And we'll get the other side on here. A little bit of glue and a few more brad nails, and look at that, we have ourselves a box. So now I am cutting the corner pieces that'll go on the front two front corners of the box. Again, all this is the same material, these dog-eared fence pickets. And then here I am cutting the longer pieces, which are going to be the, I guess you'd call them kind of the styles, if you will, but this is just more for decorative, for some aesthetics. It does no structural purpose whatsoever. But it looks really nice when it all comes together. So a few passes here on the table saw, and this is where I am actually changing up my insert so that I can put on a 45-degree angle. Now I know I said at the beginning there's no fancy miters or anything like that, and you really don't have to do this. I've just found that it's a little bit cleaner look instead of having butt joints there on the corners. So I run these pieces, which I will shortly cut down to size. Could have just ran one long piece down with a 45, but I was using cutoffs, so ended up running a few pieces there. And this is where I'm going to measure the corners, and then also the back pieces, the back side pieces, the vertical pieces will not have a miter on them. Now I am cutting all of my corner pieces to size. I think it'd be about 6 1/8, 6 1/4, something like that. And it ends up being two boxes, so it ends up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 pieces. Then I also have my back vertical pieces in the mix here. So once again, a little bit of glue on both pieces here, and you guessed it, well, Mr. Brad's back in town, putting him into good work. As a matter of fact, a lot of offshoots because this thing kept jamming on me. So keep your brad nailers nice and oiled and they'll treat you right. And then that's that non-mitered piece that I was telling you about. And that's essentially the back. Right now it looks like the bottom. Now I'm measuring out the longer pieces that are going to go across the top and bottom of the front piece. Nice thing about this, it ends up covering all those box joints, or butt joints rather. And I think it's about 70.5 on this bigger box. We got a nice snug fit here. Just kind of dry fitting them, make sure they go in. I like them to be really snug because of the weather changes. And now, once again, a little more glue. Glue, 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 glue. I've tried those glue bottles. I just do not enjoy refilling glue bottles, so I just buy these. And a little bit of brad nail action. Now, I don't know if I put it, I said no sanding, and if you look at that top piece that I'm currently touching, I put it on the glue on the wrong side, and it's quite patina, so I did run 80 grit down that piece just to knock off some of that patina. Now I've got my iWatch, Ultra Watch, whatever it is, doing some calculations. I love that built-in calculator. And I divided the 70.5 by 2 to find the middle, and then I did it once again to find the middles of those. So there'll be 3 vertical pieces going on the front just for decoration. And I'm marking all my pieces here. And now we're on the new Rockler table saw sled, which I absolutely love. Should have bought this a long time ago. I think it ends up being 6 pieces total for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rather. So I've got the 3 middle pieces on the front, and then the top and bottom pieces on each side to finish off the framing. Again, just aesthetics, gives a little bit of character. So here I'm putting on the front pieces, glue, brad nails. I know, hard to believe, right? Okay, and then now we're putting in the top and bottom pieces at the side to make a little bit of box. Kind of a shaker style, I guess. Rustic shaker, is that a thing? I guess it can be. Now this is the thing that I think really sets them off. So I lay this piece, which unfortunately I didn't have a long enough piece, so I had to put 2 pieces together here. But I run these across the top, they hang over maybe a 1/4 inch. It just gives it a really, really nice look to top it all off. Little side action here, more side action. And then I just take a little 1/8 round over bit, that way you don't get cut when you're trying to plant flowers. Now I am running tape about 1 inch down below the top because you get a much cleaner stain instead of just I don't stain the complete inside. It's a waste of time because you're going to be filling up with dirt and flowers, and also I don't know if it affects the soil, so I figured I like to stain down to about where I think the dirt might be, and that tape just keeps it from running down the inside of the box and looking like doo-doo. So here I think I'm using Early American because my contractor on this house we're flipping went ahead and made these shutters, and that's what he used, so I needed to match. So we've got a lot of stain going on. This specific type of fence picket does soak the stain up like crazy, so uses quite a bit, but it's 1 coat and I don't have to worry about wiping it off. It really soaks in, so I do enjoy that part, and I absolutely love using foam brushes when I stain. It's my go-to on pretty much just about any stain, any application, especially for my final coat. You can put a really thin coat on there if you are doing something of a more finished product like a countertop or floating shelf or what have you. And sorry, I had to close the shop door. The dog tried to sneak in. So I'm almost got the stain wrapped up here. And this is where I was talking about that tape really helps. You know, it does still want to run, so I think I throw a rag in here and just kind of wipe it up as I go. It's not a perfect line, not unless you were to sand this, pick it down. But it does, it's a lot cleaner look than just trying to guess or even just doing around the top. I originally did stain them around the top and they just look kind of incomplete while they were empty. So for picture's sake, when we list these houses and they go on the market, I found coming down just about an inch really makes a huge difference. And here inside the shop is what she looks like. Very nice. Now it's time to get them installed. So we've got two windows. Like I said, the bigger one is I think 70 inches. And all I use here is a few Tapcons. So for this, all you need is a hammer drill. On a brick house, you want to find the mortar. It's very difficult to drill into brick, so find your mortar, and there you go. Just drive her in. Now I will admit that this bit was a bit too large and ended up being kind of loose, so off camera I did come back. Little trick I learned in my long 15 years in the cable industry was you can put zip ties in those holes and it makes it nice and snug. So I did take this back down, throw some zip ties in there, and then it was absolutely perfect. I could have probably hung off this box and it would have not moved. And then over here above the garage is the smaller 50-inch box. And now I've got the smaller bit in there, as you might be able to tell. You can see those shutters that my talented contractor made. They look really good, so this all matches. Once again, finding the mortar, just 3 Tapcons per box is plenty. Even once they have soil and flowers in them, that is more than enough to hold these up. And with the windowsill, don't even need a level, just butt it right up there, and you can literally work on these from inside, which is very nice. Now, I don't know if you can see, but I can't get these Tapcons all the way in. Well, now I realize that my bit is just a little bit too small. You know that saying, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, so I should have got the right material for the job and I wouldn't have had to make another extra trip up this ladder. And I got them in as far as I could before it started stripping out. And you can see it's about an inch hanging out there. And I really struggle using my left hand with a drill. I don't know why, so it might look unsafe, but like I said, 15 years in cable, I have spent a lot of time on ladders, perfectly comfortable on them. And this really isn't that high. About 10 feet off the ground, I think I'd be okay. So I got the right bit and I'm able to drive these babies all the way in. And once again, I could probably hang off this box and it not come off the wall. And here is our finished product.